Story time. Remember that YouTuber that used to do that? He's not me. He's not me and I'm not him. But I do have lawn care stories, which is something he didn't have. So, some years ago, I was working for this lady, and I'm sure you mentioned, or you remember I mentioned her before, but she was crazy. And one of the ways she was crazy was she loved to go off the rails and rant and scream, but she also loved to spend money. And by spend money, I mean she spent insane amounts of money. One particular time, we went over there to do an aeration job at her property. Now, this aerating job, we were billing a little bit on the high end because of the extra amount of work we had to do as far as marking all the heads and everything, the irrigation zones. She wasn't doing any of that for us. We had to do all that in advance. And also, her backyard gates were so small, we couldn't get the aeration machine that we rented from Home Depot, those ones you rented, we couldn't get that in there. So we had to aerate the backyard by hand with one of those little 4-prong or 6-prong little hand aerators. So we priced it pretty high. If I remember right, we were charging about $400 to aerate this property. And the front yard was a pretty good size property. The backyard wasn't too big, but like I said, we had to hand aerate it, so it took a little bit of time. Well, my cousin and I were working this job, and she was known to come out and, start carrying on and talking a bunch of nonsense. She could be really nice or she could be really mean. She was super bipolar in that aspect, and it's one of those things you just had to deal with. You had to, get ready for it every time you went over to her house. But anyway, we went over there, we got started, got everything marked, got the aerating done. We went to collect our payment. Well, she was talking, she would go off on one tangent or another, such and such. She asked me, how much is the bill? And I told her, that'll be $400 today to aerate. And she looks at me, and she looks at my cousin, and she looks at the yard, and she goes, no, $400 is not enough. You did more than that amount of work today. And I'm like, okay, that's the first. I've never heard that one before. Typically, people are trying to talk you down on price, not up on price. So she goes, no, $400 is not enough. And she was angry. She got angry. So $400 is not enough. Right? Pulls out her checkbook. She goes, $800. $400 for you and $400 for him. She pointed each to me and my cousin. And I'm like, okay. And my cousin was like, what? Because I was paying him. I don't remember the ratio I was doing it because I had subbed him, kind of hired him for the day to help me. I don't remember what exactly I was paying. I had planned to pay him in advance, but I'm like, okay, I guess you're making more now. So she starts carrying on about something else unrelated. I don't remember what exactly she was doing. She was talking about. It was something to do with the lawn or something to do with her pets or some drama in her life. Who knows? It was one of those types of things. But she stops again. She looks around. She goes, no. $800's not enough. $1,200. $600 for you. $600 for him. And I'm looking at her like, what are you doing? And this went on and on for about 15 minutes. She would talk for a few minutes about something else, and then she'd stop and, no, more. It got up to where it was like $2,200. She got us up from, when I was saying, the bill, I billed her $400 to do this aerating. She got it up to $2,200. She finally was like, no, $2,200. $1,100 for you, $1,100 for him. I don't know how she knew that, math off the top of her head, but because, I don't know, she wasn't all there, but she knew, she was able to figure that out in her head. $2,200, she said, angrily as she was, and she pulls out the pen and writes that amount on the check, signs it, pulls it off, and hands it to me. And I was just just baffled. It was just one of the most baffling things you'll ever encounter. Like, how many people you would give a price to would increase the price. They would try to, instead of, lowball you, this person highballed me. This person, gave me 5 times the amount, almost 5 times the amount that I billed her for this job. That's insane. But that's the kind of person she was. She was crazy.